Please be seated. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Mr. Chris Tobin, representative of the Darug people, to offer the traditional welcome to country. Mr. Tobin.
Thank you. Warami, and welcome to the lands of the Wallamedigal. I belong to one of the local Aboriginal families of the Darug people, the traditional custodians over this part of the country. I wish to thank the University for their acknowledgement of us and for the invitation to welcome you all here tonight. That acknowledgement is important for our people and much appreciated, particularly by our elders. Education is highly valued in Aboriginal culture as well. Knowledge meant survival, and our elders are traditionally accorded great respect for their accumulated wisdom and experience. My family descend from Yarramundi, a respected elder and cleverman of the Burrabrongal clan during the early years of colonisation. He saw that our survival in this new world could best be secured if we could learn more about it. As such, he enrolled his daughter, Maria, into the native institution, a school set up in 1815 by Governor Macquarie, offering formal education to Aboriginal children. She studied there for several years and used her newly acquired skills to lobby and ultimately secure some land for herself and her family out along the Richmond Road. Other Aboriginal families soon joined them and became known as the Blackstown, where present-day city of Blacktown stands. We are very proud of her, as I'm sure your families are of you here tonight. And with good reason. Your progress progresses us all. Your advancement is our advancement. Now that was perhaps more readily understood in traditional times when clans were smaller and abided by strict sharing laws, which meant that the food that you caught and brought back was distributed throughout the rest of the camp. Your skills and good fortune were thus enjoyed by all. Your efforts literally nourished the whole community. And you in turn were looked after by them. Yes, we can live quite beautifully when we are clever about it. Our Aboriginal ancestors certainly lived well in many respects, and I use occasions like this to offer them to yourselves as a model or a benchmark on how good to expect our lives today. You see, when Captain Cook arrived here a little over 200 years ago, he described the people he encountered at Botany Bay as one of the happiest people he'd met in the world. They had nothing, he wrote, but the tools that they carried. They were naked, they made shelters from the bark of trees without cutting them down, and harvested food from the land without tilling the earth. In traditional times, everyone was accorded rights to the country or clan area where he or she was born into. So there was no homelessness, no rich or poor either. Everyone had pretty much the same amount of gear, what you could carry. There was no armies or jails, no rents or mortgages, not even police. We have no history of slavery here or empire building. People cooperated to collect the resources which were then shared out according to strict Aboriginal law. Our lands were maintained in their natural state. Rivers were clean and unpolluted, with people drinking out of them as they have done here for the past 20,000 years. Now, this is not an ideal, this is normal life, or should be. Admittedly, we've got a lot to do, a lot more of us now. But there's no reason why we should expect less for ourselves and our children than what our ancestors enjoyed. So I would say, expect great things from your life and your future, and do great things. And together, we can create a future worthy of our children. We can all do our bit. Now, I'll do mine by winding up here and letting you good people graduate. Just want to say congratulations to all of you, and all the best in our collective futures. Thank you. Yana.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to introduce the Chancellor of Macquarie University, the Honourable Michael Egan. Mr. Egan.
Thank you, Chris Tobin, for your welcome to country. Well, graduands, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and I see we have quite a number of young boys and girls with us tonight and quite a number of little babies, and that's fantastic. But as sure as night follows day, little children will make a noise and babies will cry. And we have a firm rule here: when they do, you are not to take them outside. You are to stay where you are, because the sound of a baby crying or a child making a noise is something we're all used to. It won't inconvenience us in any way. We've all heard worse. I mean, I spent 25 years in Parliament, so I can put up with that sort of thing. It's always interesting. The people with little children always position themselves at the back so that they can make a hasty exit when the child starts to make a noise. Well, those security people down there are here to make sure you don't go out, so stay. It's my very great privilege as Chancellor of Macquarie University to preside at this very important ceremony. First, I welcome all of our graduands and hope that this will be a very happy and memorable occasion for all of you. Now, you should all be very relaxed, because for most of you it's your second or third or perhaps sometimes your fourth occasion here, but I'm always amazed that so many people come here looking very apprehensive and nervous. There is no need to. It's usually the blokes, by the way. They're the ones who worry that they've got a clammy hand and they rub their hand on their trousers as they come up. Don't worry. I can assure you everyone's got a clammy hand. And the very worst thing that can happen, and this happens to many of the ladies, is that they fall out of their high-heeled shoes and fall over when they're up here. Well, that's okay. We've got that covered too. On occasions like this, we always have someone who's designated with a job of picking you up when you fall over, and tonight that's the New South Wales Police Commissioner, Andrew Scipione. So it is very important that you just sit back and relax and have a great time, because you deserve to take great pride in your graduation. Completing a degree is never easy, particularly if it's your second or third or fourth and you've got to combine studies with family responsibilities and career responsibilities that the straight out of school undergraduates haven't even started to contemplate. So it's a great credit to you. You need an intelligent and inquiring mind, you need determination and perseverance, and you need to make many sacrifices. So welcome and congratulations to each and every one of you. Tonight I also want to welcome, and especially welcome, those of you who are sitting behind our graduands as their invited guests. Because if you think about it for a moment or two, you've all obviously done very well too. The very fact that you're here, the fact that you've been invited by one of our graduands to share one of the great days of their lives is proof positive that you've been very important in their lives and in the successes that we celebrate tonight. So mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, cousins, sons and daughters, grandmothers and grandfathers, friends, husbands, wives, partners, boyfriends, girlfriends, lovers, or whatever you are, congratulations, and thank you for celebrating this great occasion with us. And I don't want you to think either that observing today's graduation is the end of your role, because I have another very important service for you to perform for our newest graduates, as they will soon become. I want you to make sure that the testimonies, the degrees they receive tonight, are never ever put in a bottom drawer, but are always proudly displayed in a position of prominence. In other words, if our graduands are too self-effacing to proclaim their own success, you make sure that you do it for them. Now, the ceremony that we're about to participate in is one of the world's oldest social rituals. For centuries, graduates have been donning robes just like the ones our graduands are wearing today, and participating in ceremonies just like this one. Indeed, there are some 50 universities in the world which can trace their history back more than 500 years. Now, I hope it won't come as a shock to you to learn that Macquarie University is not one of those 50 universities. We're, of course, relatively young, just 49 years of age. But in those 49 years, we have come a long way. We now have more than 130,000 Macquarie graduates living in more than 140 countries. Macquarie is a very modern and outward-looking university. We're regarded as one of Australia's leading research universities and are currently extending our research, as we are our course offerings and facilities. We're always trying to engage with the world around us. We've forged strong alliances with the community and with industry and are keen to establish more. On your way here tonight, you may have seen our new Macquarie University Hospital, just on 2 years old, which is not only used to treat sick people, which is of course the primary purpose of a hospital, but also used by the students and academics in our School of Advanced Medicine. We are the only university in Australia with its own private hospital. Many universities in the United States have them. We're the only one in Australia. You may also have seen our new library, which really is absolutely first class, and I'm sure is the envy of every other university in the land. Or our new Advanced Hearing Hub, which was opened officially only this week, and which is a world-leading institute dedicated to advances in hearing, speech and language science. So we're looking forward, and we are on the move. We want Macquarie always to be a leader in teaching and learning and a leader in the accumulation of knowledge and understanding. In other words, an ideal community of scholars. And graduands, in a few minutes, it will be my very great honour to confer your degrees upon you and welcome you as lifelong members of that community of scholars we proudly call Macquarie University. Thank you.
Chancellor, I call on Mr. John Paul Monk, who is graduating today with a Master of Business Administration, to speak on behalf of the graduating group.
Chancellor, members of the University, friends and family, Class of 2012, wear sunscreen. My sincerest apologies for quoting such a cheesy phrase to start with. Surely those graduating today have worked hard enough for something better than that. To put it in context, when asked to give this speech to my fellow graduands, their friends and their families, I took it like an assignment. Applying a great lesson from my MBA, I thought it prudent to find an example of someone who had done a good job of this in the past. Of course, by that I don't mean plagiarism. As I read through the graduation speeches, all the way from Steve Jobs to the Honourable Michael Kirby to Barack Obama, I came across the origin of that silly sunscreen quote, which of course famously ended up in a song. It wasn't actually said in a graduation speech, however. It was written by a journalist in New York. Inspired by Robert Spillane, he is an inspirational guy, my first reaction was, this lady must surely be illiterate. You can't actually wear sunscreen for several reasons. It does not meet the technical definition of clothing. It is not by any means fashionable, so you can't wear it like a t-shirt. Better not. Rather, it's something functional, which is why we're always told to say, apply sunscreen. What relevance does that have to those of us graduating today? Well, we've all learned about the perils of hubris, strategic misalignment in the pursuit of our qualifications. It would be particularly foolish to wear an MBA, though you could in theory attach it to your clothes if you really wanted to. No doubt we've all met many MBA graduates, of course from other business schools, who flaunt their degree about the place meaninglessly, like it's a fashion accessory. Of course, we're all far smarter than that. That's why we're graduating from MGSM today, and not from any other 3 or 4 letter acronym. What will define our success is not how well we wear our qualifications, but how well we apply them. That is true whether we pursue work in Australia or internationally, for profit or non-profit, for an organisation or as entrepreneurs. So what wisdom did those great billionaires of yesterday share with their classes? Well, Bill Gates was a dropout. He took decades to be finally awarded a degree from his university, so we can all be very proud that we've done something better than Bill Gates. One thing that he and Steve Jobs both emphasised was the notion of taking risks. Not risk in the sense of going to the star and putting everything on red or black, but risk that would be described in Australia as having a go. That means taking a chance on something that seems beyond you, stretching yourself beyond what you thought you could achieve, trying things that you're sure that you will fail at. Indeed, failure is an integral part of success. Steve Jobs was fired from Apple as an underperforming manager in 1985. It was at least a decade later that a shattered, debt-ridden Apple let a slightly older, slightly balder Steve Jobs back into the fray. We all know very well what happened after that. Of this, he said, "I didn't see it then, but it turned out that getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. The heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again, less sure about everything. It freed me to enter one of the most creative periods of my life." He also said that the knowledge he would be dead soon was the most important tool he had encountered to make the big choices in life. This reminded him, as he put, to avoid the trap of thinking he had something to lose. Of that, he said, "You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart." So it is true then that we should not fall into the trap of thinking that we are wearing anything. Not sunscreen, not an MBA. While we have truly achieved something worth being proud of, we must remember that we are still naked. There is no reason not to follow our hearts, still no reason not to take risks in our lives. On the topic of sunscreen, it is probably a good idea anyway. More importantly though, tonight marks a truly memorable experience and an inflection point in the lives of those graduating tonight, as well as for their loved ones. I wish all of you the very best in following wherever your heart leads you hereafter.
Well done, John Paul, and congratulations on your MBA. You obviously are going to be a great success in life. You've already displayed great judgment in choosing to study at Australia's very best university. So well done. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we now come to the key part of tonight's ceremony, which is the conferring of degrees, and it's the part that always worries me a bit because I know that if I make a mistake and confer a degree on someone who's not eligible to get it, I can't take it back. So I always like to get an assurance from the Deputy Registrar that everybody always submitted their assignments on time, never missed a class, and is otherwise eligible to graduate. So, Deputy Registrar, can you give me that guarantee?
Chancellor, I certify that all of the candidates presented here today and those who are absent have satisfied the requirements of the Academic Senate for the degrees and diplomas they are to be awarded. Would all candidates for admission to degrees or diplomas please stand?
Graduands, in the name of the Council of Macquarie University and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit each of you present and those who are absent to the degrees or diplomas for which you have qualified. Graduates, congratulations.
Please be seated. Chancellor, the graduates at this ceremony are from the Macquarie Graduate School of Management. The Macquarie Graduate School of Management has a comprehensive suite of postgraduate, customised corporate and executive education programs which cover a wide range of contemporary disciplines, offering participants an opportunity to specialise or to develop the skills required for a career in general management. By linking practical, real-world experience with leading management theories and principles from around the globe, the school provides executives with a learning experience that transcends the traditional boundaries of a business school. Chancellor, I now call on Professor Guy Ford, Interim Dean of the Macquarie Graduate School of Management, to present the graduates and diplomates. Professor Ford.
Chancellor, I present to you the graduates and diplomats from the Macquarie Graduate School of Management whom you've admitted to degrees or awarded diplomas. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Dr. Nigel Stephen Garrow for a thesis entitled An Examination of the Effectiveness of Chairman and Chief Executive Officers in Mergers and Acquisitions in Australia. Dr. Andrew Aidan Hayes for a thesis entitled Developing a Taxonomy of Australasian Law Firms Using Configurations of Human Resources and Management. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Doctor of Business Administration. Dr. Mohammed Javed Barami for a thesis entitled Impacts of Successful ERP Implementation on Australian Firms' Performance. Dr. Ali Charafuddin for a thesis entitled Alignment Management Control and Alliance Portfolio Management in Third-Party Logistics Supply Chains. Dr. Neil MacArthur Oakes for a thesis entitled Performance-Based Profit Sharing versus Lockstep to Equality. Profit-sharing systems in Australian law firms, a study of comparative outcomes. I present the graduate admitted to the degree of Master of Arts, Ashraf Soas. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Business Administration, Haldor Christian Amut. Michael Moheb Alexander. Maria Carmela Alat. Marion Antin. Fiorella Maria Artisoni Ferrero. Andrew Jason Alpec. Robert George Basker. Deborah Ann Burgess. Stephen Andrew Burt. Melinda Helen Byrne. Norman Kowalski. Annette Lee Corwell. Ana Zita Cardoso Faria Matello. James Edward Carter. Michael Daly. Juliana dos Santos Gabara. Gregory Paul Duncan. Surin Dilruk Fernando. Mohit Garg. Benjamin Allen Goodwin. Nathan Goya. Sophie Hegarty. Andrew Sinclair Hemming. Kiriakou Rodrigo Dario Jarami Orellana. Asish Jatana. Simone Marie Jeha. Paul Darren Keane. Anatoly Valeryevich Kudryashov. Sriyam Lakshmi Nairan. Anna Nock Mylam. Sylvia Beata Lamont. Dingley Lian. Angus McFadden. Clint Stewart McKellar. Lisa Ann Mackenzie. James McKinnon. Mark Julian Miller. Alan Mitchell. Andrew Mock. J.P. Monk. Katrina Sampo Mu. Mark Kenneth Nathan. Andrew Doan Newen. Karen Lara O'Connor. Kitsa Papadopoulos, who has been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. Scott Peter Philbrook. Jason Scott Pope. Gunjan Pradhan. Ross Francis Reiki. Caleb Joshua Reeves. Adele Richards. Adam Lindsay Roach. Luke Simon Rollins. Matthew Keith Sanders. Christian James Seeley. Andrew Grant Slapp. Mark Anthony Stefan. Melinda Apollonio Stevenson. Andrew Honbor Tang. Jesse Chi Kong Teng. Sabine Thewacorn. Min Gai Tu. Reno John Vangeli. Stephen James Volbrecht. Travis Leonard John Whitehouse. That's the first one. Oh, okay. Fernando Esteves Barroso. I present graduates admitted to the degree of Master of Management. Pitikan Amphai. David Ross Baker. Selena Rinku Bata. Paul Jonathan Bellantonio. Denise Marie Bennett. Frances Catherine Biggs. Nicole Jodie Bosland. Ronald Buzimon. Matthew Vincent Brown. Dino Cabal. Grace Ann Cara. Chung Yu Ki. Anna Daniel, who's been awarded the Vice-Chancellor's Commendation for Academic Excellence. Rebecca Jane Downey. Nikolay Druganov. Paul Leslie Dudding. Nigel Francis Elsmore. Modamaji Shamil Ayendra Fernando. Suzanne Elizabeth Holmes. Sophia Emilie Bengta Carstensen. Lisa May Po Keng Kok. Pradeep Kuriakot Thilakan. Hanji Jason Liang. Well done. Andrew Lozordo. Ulysses Praticio Martinez. Fabian Christopher Matsuvic. Hamish Alastair Macleay. Andrew McHale. Kenzie Naker. Sakthesis Navan Nithya Vaja. Martin Nolte. Samantha Lee Petchell. Daniel Nathan Piton. Miljoy Polistico. Stephen Edward Quinlan. Megan Louise Rudburn. Lorena Lucia Ramirez Merchan. Neil Norman Sayer. Bento Sequira. Patrick Ian Shepherd. Mark Daniel Tepperson. Onsasi Tia Matea. Nichapa Vivit Vorakit. Thomas Michael Wallace. Nabil Wansa. Sarah Emma Ross Wells. Frank Vuena. Mark Curran Wooldridge. Yao Kai Ning Kelly. I present the diplomat awarded the postgraduate diploma in financial management, Pulkit Shah. I present diplomates awarded the postgraduate diploma in management, James Helmut Aguilar. Antonio Ocello. Elisa Jane Blackie. Prashant Gupta. Alexander Pappas. Svenja Schuster. Sharon Elizabeth West. I present diplomats awarded the Postgraduate Diploma of Management. Gary Ko Cheng Tan. Lawrence Edward Ward. Chancellor, that completes this evening's presentation of the graduates and diplomates from the Macquarie Graduate School of Management.
now, that wasn't too bad, was it? That beautiful voice, ladies and gentlemen, belongs to Angela Brewer. Would you like to hear Angela sing just a little bit more? Okay, it's very simple. You enrolled in another degree, and when you come back, Angela will be singing at your next graduation too. And I assume a couple of you have already heard Angela sing before. It's one of the reasons I'm always at these graduations, because Angela is just so fantastic. I think she deserves another great round of applause. Well, graduates and ladies and gentlemen, it's our pleasure at today's ceremony to honour, in accordance with the resolution of the University Council, Commissioner Andrew Scipione for admission to the degree of Doctor of Letters Honoris Causa of Macquarie University. I now call upon Professor Bruce Doughton, Vice-Chancellor of Macquarie University, to read the citation. Professor Doughton.
Chancellor, I invite Commissioner Andrew Scipione to stand for the citation. Chancellor, during more than 30 years of service with the New South Wales Police Force, Andrew Scipione has made a most significant contribution to the safety and well-being of Australian people. In his current role as Commissioner of Police, he heads Australia's largest police force and the fourth largest police force in the Western world. Commissioner Scipione began his career in 1980 in New South Wales' southwest Hurstville Police Station. Following experience in general and traffic duties, Commissioner Scipione worked as a detective in the CIB and Bankstown Detectives. He was then seconded to the National Crime Authority. In 1992, he was appointed to the rank of Detective Inspector at the Joint Technical Services Group, and in 1995 was promoted to the rank of Detective Superintendent and Commander at the Special Technical Investigation Branch. From 1992 to 1998, he was also a Senior New South Wales Police Counter-Terrorist Advisor to SAC-PAV. In 2001, Mr. Scipione was appointed as the Assistant Commissioner in charge of Special Crime and Internal Affairs. Followed by that, he rose to the appointment of Deputy Commissioner in February 2002 and subsequently became Commissioner of Police in September 2007. For his commendable service throughout his career, Commissioner Scipione has been highly decorated, including receiving the Australian Police Medal and the National Medal. An alumnus of Macquarie University, Commissioner Scipione holds a master's degree in management and a graduate diploma in police management. He is also a graduate of the FBI National Executive Institute. Commissioner Scipione is a true Australian hero and has gained the public's wide respect and trust for his dedication to upholding the law. Chancellor, it is with distinct pleasure that I present to you Macquarie University alumnus, Commissioner Andrew Scipione, for the award of the degree Doctor of Letters Honoris Causa.
Commissioner Andrew Scipione, in the name of the Council of Macquarie University and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Letters Honoris Causa. Congratulations, Dr. Scipione. Well, ladies and gentlemen and graduates, I now invite Dr. Scipione to give the occasional address.
Well, good evening, and thank you very much for that warm welcome. Can I thank you for the honour that I've just received? It is truly breathtaking to be part of it. It means so much to me to receive an honorary doctorate from Macquarie University particularly, and to be here tonight when we're recognising graduates from the MGSM. The university here has made a really significant contribution to my life and the lives of so many thousands of others, both professionally and personally. On both occasions that I've studied here, I was challenged. I was challenged to inquire, to think, to reason, to be innovative and to be creative. I studied alongside some very, very clever people, and I learned so much that has assisted me in my career and that I often reflect upon to this very day. So to be recognised in this way, particularly by my old alma mater, it was as unexpected as it is appreciated. My very sincere thanks. Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, academic staff and members of the university, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, but most importantly, our graduates. My congratulations to each and every one of you on the completion of your studies. Well done to all of you. I'd like to be able to say that it was only yesterday that I sat in those seats that you're in right now, but sadly it was a few more years ago than that. I reflected with my wife as we drove in how many memories come flooding back when I come back to Macquarie University. Nonetheless, those memories will remain with me and they'll be fresh every time I drive in. So I think I know something of the excitement, anticipation and the pride that each of you must be feeling today. And if you could see your faces now compared to when I first came in and saw you, the sense of relief is very, very visible as well. And that's equally true for those that have played a part in bringing you to this day. And those are the people that sit behind you, your family and your friends, your lecturers and your academic staff. Without their contribution, the journey that you've been on would have been so much harder and perhaps not quite as satisfying. So I know that today is going to be a very memorable day for you, and I'm sure that will also be a very important one. It's memorable because of the personal milestones that you have now achieved. You've put in the long hours and the study, you've met all of the academic requirements, and today you have the opportunity to share your achievement with your family, your friends and your peers. But it's also an important day because of the opportunities and the choices that now lay ahead of you. How will you take your experience at Macquarie and apply it to your working life and to your life generally? What differences can and should it make to your chosen discipline? Do you want to progress on to further studies, or perhaps just stop for a while, catch your breath, think a little bit more about your future? One chapter draws to a close, and you now have the opportunity to play a large part in directing the next chapter. Now, it's traditional at graduation ceremonies for a keynote speaker to offer some inspirational words to the graduates as they contemplate those choices. And there are so many reflections that I could share with you tonight. The benefits of staying in touch with your classmates and of participating in alumni activities in the future. The need to take charge of your life and your career and to engage in lifelong learning, not expecting others to do it for you. But also not to get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life for yourself. You know, your career is no doubt important, but there are people in your life who will always be more important. And I imagine some of those people are here with you today, as they are with me. But when I thought about what sort of motivational address I could possibly make, my thoughts kept coming back to the people who have motivated me and inspired me, particularly in recent years. You know, I'm in the very fortunate position of hearing inspirational stories almost every working day. And so what I'd like to do is very briefly tell you about just two of the many, many people who have had a significant impact on me in recent times. I'll start with an incident that's probably known to all in this room. It occurred late last year. A routine traffic stop for one of our police officers that took a horrible turn. On the morning of Thursday, the 2nd of March 2012, Senior Constable David Rixon was patrolling in West Tamworth when he had the cause to pull over a vehicle. As he would have done so many times before, David turned on the recording device in his top pocket and approached the vehicle. The audio from that recording tells a chilling story. Without provocation, the male occupant of the vehicle drew a weapon and opened fire. Senior Constable Rickson suffered gunshot wounds that would claim his life. He left behind a wife and 6 children. And yet, despite being mortally wounded, David Rickson managed to return fire, to holster his weapon, and commence securing the offender with his handcuffs before he collapsed and died. A police officer, dedicated to the safety and the protection of others, right up until his final breath. Another officer, Sergeant Samantha Barlow. In the early hours of the 13th of May 2009, Samantha was horribly assaulted on her way to work at King's Cross. Bashed by a brick-wielding heroin addict and left to die for more than an hour before being located by her colleagues from King's Cross Local Area Command whilst they were conducting a normal routine morning patrol. Her injuries were horrific. They included a fractured skull, which was shattered into more than a dozen pieces. Multiple fractures to her neck, her forehead, her eye socket and nose. Over a dozen deep lacerations to her head. Her hand was smashed as she attempted to protect her head during the course of the attack. She was placed into a medically induced coma due to the life-threatening nature of her injuries. The wife of another police officer with 2 young children, I've got to say, on the morning when I first saw her, just hours after the attack, the outlook was extremely bleak. But it wasn't what happened to Samantha Barlow that shaped her future. It was what she resolved to do in response. Following 22 hard months of extensive rehabilitation, Samantha returned to duties at Surrey Hills Highway Patrol in March of 2011. And she would see the offender brought to justice and sentenced to a minimum of 11.5 years for the horrific attack. Among many awards, Samantha was presented with the Hellweg Bravery Award and later the Heroism Medal at the Pride of Australia award ceremony at Government House. And a year and a half later, in August of last year, she made the incredibly difficult decision to retire. But not before proving to her attacker, to her family, to her friends and work colleagues, and perhaps most importantly to herself, that she had overcome. David Rickson and Samantha Barlow, 2 ordinary people who showed extraordinary strength and resolve, and every day I see more, many, many more. Thankfully, very few come from such horrendous circumstances, but nonetheless, each is extraordinary in its own way. So the question, I guess, is where does that sort of resolve come from? And what strength, determination and resolve lies within each and every one of us? There's a saying that what lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. Today signals the end of a course of study for each and every one of you. You've earned the right to graduate. For all of you, that would have involved some effort, some challenge, some resolve, and I'm no doubt that for some of you, it required some struggle. But you made it. You juggled the demands, you relied on your skills, your intelligence and your reserves, and you now add another achievement to your resume. Quite possibly, there will be times of struggle and adversity ahead. I pray that none of you face challenges of the magnitude that I've just shared with you. But importantly, there will be personal growth, opportunities and choices. Some that will come about as a direct result of your graduation here today. How you approach those, the strength and the determination that you exhibit will be a matter for you. But be assured, the right stuff lies within each of us. Some are called to display it in very stark and dramatic ways, others less so, but it's still there in every one of us. Ordinary people can and do perform extraordinary things. I'm in the fortunate position of seeing that almost every day, and it never ceases to amaze me. Again, congratulations to our graduates. Well done to each and every one of you. This is your day. Please enjoy. Thank you very much.
ordinary people do extraordinary things, and that is absolutely so true. I think we've all been very privileged, and particularly our graduates, to hear such an inspiring occasional address at your graduation. Commissioner Scipione is not only a very distinguished alumnus of Macquarie University, but a very, very distinguished Australian, and I think you'll agree we've really been very fortunate to have him as such an important part of tonight's ceremony. Please join with me in thanking him again. Well, graduates, this ceremony marks the end of one stage in your relationship with Macquarie University, but it's certainly not the end of your association with Macquarie. From today on, for the rest of your lives, you're part of the bigger Macquarie family, which is our alumni, and part of the network of Macquarie alumni, which now spans the globe. We'll keep in touch with you through our alumni program, which is focused on lifelong learning, lifelong support, and lifelong connections. Our commitment to you is to help you keep in touch and engaged with Macquarie throughout your life. And please do make sure that you come back to Macquarie, either to undertake more study, to attend alumni events, perhaps use our aquatic and fitness and sporting facilities, or even, as the mood takes many people during the graduation weeks, simply to enjoy a picnic down by our lake. Well, graduates, the award of a university degree carries many opportunities and privileges, but like all privileges, it also carries responsibilities. Believe it or not, you, each and every one of you, can change the world. And you don't have to be a Nobel Prize winner to do it either, because almost everything you do, in your homes, in your workplaces, and in your communities matters and can make a huge difference. The consequences of every effort, every action, large or small, can reverberate throughout society, through the decades, indeed the centuries. Even something as simple as a kind word or a kind gesture can often be the spark that ignites a great life or a great career or a great achievement. So, as Chancellor of Macquarie University, I charge you to use what you have learned, not only for your own benefit, but also for the betterment of the community. I charge you to use the skills and knowledge you've acquired with rigour and integrity, and to commit yourselves to a program of lifelong learning and inquiry. I charge you to recognise the worth and dignity of all people, particularly those who have not had the opportunities that you've enjoyed. I charge you to set high goals and to continue the hard work that has brought you so far. I charge you, wherever you go, to go with all your heart. And in all you do, I charge you to uphold the good name of Macquarie University. Graduates, I hope also that you'll always remember the people who have helped you along the way, many of whom, of course, are here with you tonight. So to acknowledge their contribution and thank them for it, I'm now going to ask you to do a couple of things. Graduates, would you now please stand, and would you put your testaments, your degrees, on the seats behind you, and would you turn around to face your families and friends. And now I invite you to give them a mighty round of applause. You can now turn around, but don't sit down because we'll be leaving in just a moment. But here on the dais are representatives of our academic staff who, of course, have supported you throughout your journey. I'm sure you'd like to thank them as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the official party will now leave the courtyard through the centre aisle and will be followed by the graduates. I would invite you all to now please stand and remain standing until the last of the graduates have processed out. And then I invite you to join us at the University Court for some light refreshment, where we've got some champers for the adults and some ice creams to say thank you to the children for all their patience, and others, the young at heart, like an ice cream too. Well, graduates, I wish you the very best for the future, and in the words of the old Irish blessing, may the road rise up to meet you, may the wind always be at your back, may the sun shine warm upon your face, and rain fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Good luck, graduates.